Samurai Shodown's 1.11 update was just released August 14th, 2019. There are a bunch of changes in this patch, universal mechanic tweaks and balance changes for the entire cast. 9 pages of super tiny text, so there's a lot, and I'm super excited for it. I've linked the full list in the description. I'm not going to go over every single one, there's just too much. This video will be about the changes I'm most excited for. A lot of these are changes that I was asking for in my first impressions video too. I don't know if anyone from SNK saw that or not, but I'm very glad that they addressed these things. So first off, several DPs have been reworked. DP is short for Dragon Punch, basically just the uppercut looking rising reversal moves.
These apply to Genjuro, Haomaru, Charlotte, and Shiki.
The light versions all now have more recovery. I'm sure you can recall trying to punish Genjuro's light DP on block, especially on whiff, and eating another DP because it had pretty much no recovery. I still think you should have a little more, like how Haomaru's and Charlotte's are much easier to just super special move, but the change is still great. None of them have any invincibility, the lights. The heavy DPs still work the same, though they've added some recovery to Charlotte's and Genjuro's. Also, Charlotte's now has more invincibility. The medium DPs now have invincibility against air attacks, but no other invincibility. Charlotte specifically comes out faster. I love this change. Jumping was insane before this patch, and characters like Yoshitora could just fly at you with Jump C all day. They also reduced the first hitbox on that move. And as a Charlotte main, I just had to pretty much sit there and watch a lot of the obnoxious jump-ins.
That move needs to be nerfed. That move needs to be nerfed.
And it's still not perfect, the medium power gradation, and it does trade sometimes, but it is better than it just losing every time. Thank you very much for these DP changes, SNK. Secondly, Deflect has been changed. Thank God. So you could kind of mash Deflect before because it was a low risk but extremely high reward option. Deflect does not have frame 1 activation, but it is pretty fast and it has very low recovery. It recovered so fast before that you pretty much couldn't whiff punish it with the heavy, medium slashes only. But if you deflected a weapon, you get a free super special move for 70%. Now the move has increased recovery, and on whiff it's just like any other whiff move where if you whiff punish it, it counts as a counter hit for extra damage. That is an amazing change. It is still strong if you have a hard read, but if your read is incorrect, you get punished properly for it. Next we have walk speed. Everyone's walk speed has been increased, though it does look like Galford's backwalk and dash is slower now. It was super fast. Many people, including myself, initially found it jarring just trying to walk in Samurai Shodown because of the walk speeds. Over time you can adapt to it, but a big side effect of really slow walk speeds is you run into a lot of moves that you otherwise wouldn't, and positioning yourself properly to anti-air is more difficult. In Samurai Shodown, you cannot dash block. But since dashing is the only way for most characters to close the distance at a reasonable speed, they end up dashing into a lot of buttons, including heavy slashes for 30-40%, when they otherwise wouldn't if they were just walking. Also, not being able to walk backwards quickly made it tough to stay out of cross-up range for jump-ins, or just properly align yourself to anti-air in general. When your weapon gets deflected, I know specifically for weapon flipping techniques, I'm not sure if it's every single deflect all the time, but your weapon no longer flips into like a random part of the screen anymore. In my experience, I played maybe 6 or 7 hours of the game since the patch came out, and it seems to go pretty close to you. So it's not like an automatic round victory if you just knock it to the other side of the screen and then you run all the way past your opponent so that the screen scrolls and then they can't catch their weapon. That used to be like a checkmate, and there was no real way to deal with it because you could just get weapon flip from round start and then that would be it. Great change. Guard rakes, also known as grabs, have had their knockback distance normalized. Some characters can only do certain follow-ups versus certain other characters based on how far they got knocked back. For example, Charlotte had to dash to do her weapon flipping technique after a grab on most of the cast, but now, according to Krusty CYA in the Samurai Shodown Discord, you only need to dash against Wu and Kyoshiro. And I've also been doing this in tournament a lot because I dropped that dash weapon flip technique a lot because that input is really precise. I'm not entirely sure how they programmed it, but DP kind of overlaps with it. And I'm actually going to talk about that DP change a little bit later. We also have user experience tweaks, a lot of quality of life changes here. You can skip the intros faster now, and the win poses even at the end of a game. Those are super annoying, especially in between rounds. You have to wait for 7-8 seconds for that. The lobbies are a lot better now, and you can actually rematch without going all the way out. I don't know how games like launch without that. Like, there's actually been several games like Tekken, Soul Calibur, like most games seem to be like they come out and like you can't instantly rematch. I don't know if like it's an oversight or whatever, but either way they fix that. When you finish a ranked match, you go back to whatever mode you were in. So fight request before was pretty much useless because you'd be in training mode practicing something, you would get a fight, and then after the match, you would go back to the online menu. So you had to go all the way back into training mode, and it would take forever, but they fixed that now. Excellent job, SNK. And there are a few other changes that I need to play with more that I'm very optimistic about. Rage Explosion hitting the air looks pretty great. I'm not entirely sure because I feel like one time my DP like had the potential to get punished when I was like really high in the air. I'm not 100% sure how big the dome is for Rage Explosion, but it feels a lot more like how Pokken is if you've ever played that, where there's like a dome like around your character. The DP motion input is the one that I really want to see because it looks like they changed it, but they didn't specify how. So I really want to see what that means. Hopefully I get less accidental DPs. I know trying to do dash, weapon flipping technique, dash, super special move, and just super special move in general, a lot of times you would get a DP. So I need to see that. Overall, this update is godlike, and I'm super happy with the changes. And of course, you'll keep seeing more Samurai Shodown on my channel. Let me know what you think of the changes.